Hey City, welcome back to the channel. It's a girl Vermore, and I'm back with another reaction video. Guys, today I'm going to be reacting to another one from Candace Owens podcast, and we have What I Learned on the Whatever podcast. Okay, What I Learned on the Whatever podcast. Guys, I'm super excited to get into this one, but before we get started, we have some amazing people watching us for the very first time. If you are new here, hello, I'm Viva. I do reaction videos. We vibe to different artists on here, react to different songs from all over the world. If this is something that you love, why not join Vera City? Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. You also see any of my videos on Candace. Click on the link above, okay, and you'll see my whole playlist on Candace. And with that, guys, let's get started.
I'm assuming that my listeners probably don't watch the Whatever podcast, and of everything that was laid out before me on this press tour, I have to be honest, I really did not understand why I was booked on this show. I had not seen it before, and my understanding was that this host, Brian, allows a bunch of sex workers to sit in a circle, and he sometimes has a conservative on to talk about their jobs. So it didn't seem like the right fit for me to be sitting across from these ladies as they talked about their OnlyFans careers or talked about the various sex work that they do as, you know, proud prostitutes. I remember dreading this. I was talking to the PR person. I'm like, why do I have to do this? This makes entirely no sense to me. And boy, am I glad that I sat down on that podcast. Boy, am I glad that I was booked to do this show, because it turns out that you actually can learn a lot from hoes. So let me just set this up for you before I show you a few clips from the show. Essentially, I was invited to sit down. Every girl across the table said what they did for a living. One girl was a singer, and she leaned conservatively, but everyone else, there was one girl who was on OnlyFans, but she only takes her top off. There was another person who was on OnlyFans. There was two women that were prostitutes and said, essentially, that they help to save marriages. Yep, you heard me correctly. Because of them and the work that they do as prostitutes and as sex therapists, they sleep with your man so that your marriage can be saved. Now, of these two proud prostitutes, one of them was just 22 years old, and I'm going to show you guys a clip of her talking about how men that date her are actually insecure. Take a listen.
I've had no issues being a legal prostitute just because I haven't been dating anybody within this time for that year. As for everything else, it's hard dating. I've ran into a lot of insecure men. Typically, those are the ones that can't handle me doing what I do for work. And
well, just a point of clarification. So you've run into a lot of insecure men, and are they insecure because they don't want to date you because you are currently active as a prostitute?
No, I'm saying I've never dated a guy while I was working at the brothels, at the Bunny Ranch or the Mustang Ranch, but I've been dating guys like between me doing camming and dancing, so that's what I'm talking about.
But you mentioned insecure men. What specifically are they doing that makes them insecure? Is it because they're insecure about your work?
Yes, like I've had exes in the past that would cry about me going to work to dance at the strip club. I've had guys try to control like what I wear and say that I can't work at strip clubs or do OnlyFans or whatever.
Oh, sorry, was there more?
No, and that's...
Okay, is it because they're insecure, or is that just them having boundaries and standards?
I feel like that's... I mean, you knew what I was doing before you met me, right? So all of them knew exactly what I was doing before they met me, which brings it to, yeah, if you have a problem with what I do before you meet me, maybe don't get involved with me.
Sure.
I'm very open, I'm a very honest person. You knew what I was doing before you met me. If you don't like it, there's the door.
So here's the first thing that I want to say. I thought that sitting across from these young women, it was going to make me angry, but what I actually felt was a tremendous sadness for that young woman that you're listening to, because I have a daughter, and the concept of a 22-year-old young girl sleeping with up to 10 men per night, which is something that she mentioned earlier in the show. 5 to 10 clients that she will see
10 men per night
actually saddens me. It breaks my heart. And to listen to her justify why her relationships are not working out and to place it onto insecure men, as she describes them, and not her line of work, not actually what might be men caring about her, men wanting her to get out of this lifestyle. Does she have a point that, well, they already knew I was doing this? Yeah, okay, sure, you're right. They probably shouldn't have been drawn to you in the first place. But the point is that once they try to get you away from this lifestyle, it's not an indicator of insecure men. It's actually could be an indicator that people think that you're better than the career that you have. Her justification is that she's making money. Later on, she says that she's going to get out of sex work and then she'll be fine and she's just going to get married happily ever after. When I explained to them why it was that none of them were in relationships, barring the one 31-year-old on the far right that was sitting there and who is, I think she was 32 or 31.
But anyways, they shouldn't look at only the women. What about the men?
When men learn and you are older and in your 30s or in your 40s that you used to be a prostitute, it is going to narrow your prospects, not because men are insecure, but because men have standards, right? And men should have standards. Which brought us forth to the topic of what is being dubbed hoflation. A friend of mine, Paul Joseph Watson, has a YouTube channel, and he spoke about this concept of hoflation, ho plus inflation, where when your grandparents, or rather your grandfather was growing up, he had to do less work to find him a high-quality woman, a woman that wanted to stay in the home, a woman that dressed conservatively, a woman that wanted to raise the children, a woman who did not want to be out sleeping with tons of men or putting her naked body on the, of course, then non-existent internet, right? Wanting people to see her naked. Now he's saying men have to work harder to find those same women. So they call this concept hoflation. And you are seeing it in this environment as you speak to these women and they talk about how the money that they get is a justification for this lifestyle. And they speak down about men. They have this fundamental hatred of men, or rather a lack of understanding of what a quality man even is and where to find him. I'm going to show you another clip from this conversation where that same young woman, who I honestly felt like, and I never say this, that she was possessed by a demon. She really was. And she was growing frustrated in me remaining logical and explaining to her that obviously her career was going to follow her for the rest of her life. And she tried to, I guess, trigger me as she was explaining how she saves marriages. And she tried to trigger me by creating a what-if scenario regarding my own husband. Take a listen to her, and I do want to go ahead and put a trigger warning on because you may have some kids in the background. This is not something for children to hear. She's really about to jump into her brothel mindset, I would say. Take a listen.
A lot of the perversion that comes, if you are not going to be acceptant with your partner, if he comes to you and is like, hey, I really like getting pegged, I want you to peg me, and you're like, ew, that's so disgusting, like I would never do that, you want me to eat your I would never do that. Well then, okay, what are you gonna do? Divorce him, or what are you gonna do? Realistically, I'm asking you I'm asking. Hold on, I want to know. What are you gonna do? That's your husband. He's like, hey babe.
I think one of the things about marriage that's really beautiful is I know what my husband, before we got married, I think I know who he is.
But things change, and maybe he wants to start exploring.
He wants to start doing what?
So he wants to start exploring, and he's like, oh my gosh, maybe I do want you to like eat my and I kind of want you to peg me. Like I kind of want anal penetration from you because you're my wife and you're so beautiful and hot, and we're married and we have kids together, and I'm feeling a little bit kinky, and I with you, since we have this special marriage and bond. How would you feel if we could just try this out just this one time, babe, please?
I think it would probably indicate to me that my husband was involved in some perverse world, whether it was through pornography, that something else was happening on the side, because these aren't normal things that people just think of when they wake up.
So like, what's your next move?
Really like a dildo.
Okay, right.
Well,
so what's your next move?
What's the ultimatum? He's going to divorce me if I don't peg him?
So what's your next move?
I would think that individual would probably need therapy and not the kind that you give.
Oh my goodness!
Saying that was
savage.
Pointing to a woman that was in her 40s who said that she's a sex therapist and she sleeps with other women's husbands, and it actually helps their marriages. Yeah, so what was weird about that is suddenly it seemed like she was suffering from a demonic possession, like she was just a Chucky doll, and she was just trying to say the most perverse thing that she could possibly say to trigger me. I didn't feel triggered by it.
But I don't think you should judge this
that a 22-year-old was even coming up with this concept, and I realized that her entire reality had been warped because she works in a brothel, and she sees up to 10 clients per day. And you have to imagine that she thinks that this must represent what all men are like. It never occurred to her that actually she is seeing the most debased, pathetic men that are in this society today, right? She is seeing men that have drug addiction. She is seeing men that have sex addiction. She is seeing men that have gone so far into their perversions that they might actually be requesting this from her. It is not the average man that goes into a brothel. It is not the average happily married man that has these perverse thoughts. And yet she thinks that it's the norm. Her and this other sex worker think that it's the norm, and that therefore they are helping to save marriages because, well, it must be all men that want this. This is where society is going today, and this is why I spend so much time talking about perversity, talking about pornography, talking about the ills, not just of graphic pornography, which her mind is utterly polluted by because it's a form of her every single day. It's a facet of her every single day. But also soft pornography that we have all become accustomed to. The pornography that we see when we scroll Instagram, and you have Instagram models with their butt cheeks and their chests out. This is the stuff that is desensitizing us, right? It is desensitizing all of us. We're all victims to it. I say this all the time. When I see an ad, I don't even flinch when I see a woman holding a purse and she's half naked, because we have become accustomed to seeing it everywhere. And where is it leading to? Where it is leading to women that are quite literally prostituting themselves on the internet because they know that they can make a quick buck. And you can do that. It's true. I think later on in the show, after I left, one of them mentioned that they make $500,000 per year. It's going to cost, obviously. If you want to make $500,000 and in your early 20s or in your late 20s, and then you're going to realize that nobody wants to marry you, nobody wants to have children with you, nobody respects you for the rest of your life, right? The possibility that you might be alone, that's deeply, deeply saddening. And what's worse than this, by the way, is that all of these women who talk about how faith is at the root of all of this, a lack of faith, atheism, which is hand in hand with narcissism, a focus on the self. What can I do for myself? Worst of all is that these women view faith as a form of perversion. Let's talk about this one girl on the far right. She was probably the angriest because I think she's now in her early 30s and she's thinking, okay, she has less time, she's got less prospects, and she can't really turn her life around. Listen to us question her, or rather the host question her, about why she's wearing a cross around her neck. Take a listen.
Well, wait, hold on. Is that a cross necklace?
Does it constitute, like, what do you,
wait, okay, really quick.
Not everybody's religious.
Since we're talking about religion really quick. Okay, you have a cross necklace, but then your shirt says, made in hell.
Yes, it does.
I'm a little confused.
Ironic,
Can you...
I'm a
little confused.
The stone is red, so it matched, you know.
Why are you wearing a cross on your neck?
Are you color coordinating with your necklace?
Because I don't see a cross as religious, so...
Okay. Just like you don't see a marriage as religious. So
I don't think that a marriage...
have meaning, which is why it's like we're at a stage where people are like, what is a woman? Because they just go, well, we're going to call it a marriage, but we're going to sleep with other people, we're going to bring in prostitutes, we're going to outsource raising the kids, or we're never going to have kids. You're calling it a family, it's not a family, and this is what it is. The words have no meaning, right? I'm wearing the cross. Why? I don't know. I don't think of it as religious. Okay, well, Jesus Christ died on the cross.
You think that.
That's what you think.
Wait,
that's what you think.
Yeah. So why are you wearing the cross?
I don't
think that the design is cute.
Yeah,
so she's just wearing the cross.
I grew up Catholic. I was religious, and I'm not anymore. I don't have to believe in what you believe, and I can say that if
I didn't say you had to believe. I asked you a question.
But
I said, why are you wearing the cross?
Okay, and you're saying that the religious aspect of marriage is the only thing that matters. It's not, because people don't follow what you believe.
Yeah. Okay, I asked you why you're wearing the cross, and you said because you thought it was cute.
Yeah,
I'm glad we got an answer. She's wearing the cross around her neck because she thinks it's cute.
I do. I'm not religious.
Would you also wear like a Star of David?
It's cute.
As well, like if it was cute, would you wear it?
Okay, well,
I just mean like I'm asking that because I wonder. Like my guess is that you would think that maybe you wouldn't wear a Star of David because you're like, oh, this is maybe like disrespectful to people who are.
Are you making
Jewish.
the argument? Maybe I mean.
No, I'm just.
The secular.
It's a very good question.
I'm just saying.
Devil's advocate here. Secular argument. Someone might just say that the cross is just maybe it's more aesthetically pleasing even for an atheist. I don't know.
Sure, but liberals are all about like having respect and tolerance.
It's like cute.
like wondering if you
I'm
think
asking
it's...
if would you wear a yarmulke?
I think those are very different
are you talking like
things.
Why is the
blasphemy?
cross different from the yarmulke?
I'm just
I mean, I was
asking-
raised Catholic, and that's just
Would
not
you
something
wear
that
a
I believe
yarmulke
anymore.
if you thought it was cute?
No, I wouldn't wear. I mean, a yarmulke is completely different than
No,
a cross
it's-
that's been
it's not.
adapted into
They're
culture. You can
symbols
buy a
of,
cross
like,
necklace anywhere.
There's symbols of a
Okay,
religious...
the argument of why it's different basically would come down to like how Catholicism has been practiced versus Judaism, in the sense that like Catholics did use the cross symbol, tried to emplace it like in indigenous populations, tried to spread it as much as possible, and that's why in modern day a lot of people think that's like more okay, because it was meant to be popularized. It was meant to be a symbol that the masses should look up to and should see in general, versus Jewish symbols.
Okay.
I would argue didn't go through that.
Well, you heard it there first.
Whoa.
On the podcast. It's totally fine to disrespect the cross because, like, you know, it's cute, and you can just like wear a cross like whenever like you want because it's just cute. Whereas you shouldn't disrespect the Star of David or yarmulke because it's somehow different. Again, this brings me back to that discussion that I had with Andrew Tate about why he converted to the Muslim faith, which I disagree with his conversion, but his reasons for having converted made me very sad when he said that the West has lost the battle faith-wise, that people openly mock Christians. What you're watching is young women that are openly mocking the Christian faith. They don't care. She doesn't care. I mean, to say, I don't believe what you believe, what do you mean by that? Muslims and Jews and Christians agree on the historical existence of Jesus Christ. Whether or not they view him as the Lord and the Savior might be a discrepancy. But in his existence, what are you saying when you're wearing
That's
this
true.
with a Made in Hell shirt? By the end of the podcast, when I was getting up, I looked across at the girl in the orange and I said to her that I was going to pray for her, and she rejected the prayer on the show. She said she didn't want me to pray for her. What kind of a person rejects a prayer? You might not believe in prayers, you might not pray yourself, but if any person walked up to me, no matter what faith they were, and they said that they were going to pray for me, I wouldn't reject it. I think that whatever podcast
Nah.
is
Oh my
that
God.
we are definitely facing a possession in America. You know, people are possessed by the concept of fame. We are possessed by perversions. We
I feel
are
like
possessed
Candace
by
is
sexuality,
judging these girls.
and all of these things are destroying
judge.
people's
Don't
souls.
judge.
Honestly, genuinely. And when I left that podcast, I still prayed for those young women because I think they need it. All right, guys, if you like this video, you are definitely going to like the full episode. You can
First off, I think Candace is judging these women, and she shouldn't do that. Do not judge, because nobody is perfect. She's speaking, she is not perfect. Nobody is perfect, okay? And that part of she praying and the lady rejecting the prayer is something I can do. I don't allow just anyone pray for me, because you don't know what kind of spirit is in that person. I am a Christian. A devoted one at that. Yes. I am a worker in my church. But I wouldn't allow just anyone pray for me. I wouldn't allow just anyone lay their hands on me, because they can transfer the spirit in them to you. Yes. Don't allow just anyone place their hand on your head. You don't know what kind of demon is in them. Just because they say they want to pray for you. I don't accept any kind of prayer. Yes. So I can't just meet you for the first time and you're telling me I want to pray for you. I might not accept your prayer. Depends on my spirit. If my spirit agrees with your spirit, then fine. Because I carry the Holy Spirit in me. So if the Holy Spirit in me is agreeing with your spirit, then of course you can pray for me. If my spirit is not agreeing with your spirit, then I'm sorry, I do not want that prayer, because some people will pray for you, at the end of the day your life gets worse. I'm not saying that about Candace, but I just want to, anytime I listen to Candace podcast, I'm always being realistic. I'm always being factual. I'm not here to take sides. I just want to be real. I want to look at it from a neutral ground. Like, I'm neither here nor there. I am just looking at the whole situation. So I feel like Candace is being judgmental. She's already judging these women. You're 22. You're sleeping around. Why are you judging the women? What about these men that are sleeping with the women? Why aren't you calling the men out? Why is it the women only they are calling out? Or are you guys gonna tell me a feminist now? I'm not a feminist or whatever, even if I'm a feminist, I don't care. But why is it the women they are tagging? Oh, she's a prostitute. they have name for women, but they don't have for men. What of men that loves doing that stuff? Those stuff. Is it not men that are paying them? The men are the ones paying for this thing. So why don't they call those men names and tell the men to stay with their wives rather than leaving their homes going to meet these girls? If the men stop going to meet them, they will run out of business and probably they will change their profession. So don't only look at the women. I have some friends and they'll be like, oh, that girl, she likes guys, she's a prostitute, she's this, she likes doing shit, she likes doing rubbish, she likes doing this, she like. What about the guy? What about the guy paying them for it? What about the guy doing it? Why aren't you looking at the side of the men? Or the men are free to go scot-free while the women cannot? I don't really buy into that. I'm really, really sorry. I do not support prostitution, okay? I do not support it. I do not at all. But then I do not look down on anyone. She said the lady was wearing the cross without being a believer or without knowing what the cross was all about. My dad is a Catholic. I was born into the Catholic Church, but we weren't raised in the Catholic Church. We were raised in the Pentecostal Church. I have zero knowledge about Catholic, whatever they're doing. I only knew I was baptized there because my dad told me that, and I was given my baptismal name, which is Veronica, and that's why my name is Vera, which I shortened it to Vera. My baptismal name is Veronica after Saint Veronica in the Bible. In fact, I had to go and look up Veronica because I never heard of her in the Bible. I had to go and look up her name and found out that okay, she indeed was in the Bible. So the thing is this, where am I going to with this? When I was in secondary school, we used to wear cross, this Catholic cross, and we wore it as fashion in school. Because in school, in secondary school, they do not allow jewelries. You can't wear chain. That was my school. They don't allow jewelries, but they allow you to wear the rosary. Yeah, it's called rosary, right? They allow you to wear the rosary. So we girls, we always wear that rosary. Just as a sort of big girl, you know, want to be big girls, chick girls. When I say secondary school, I mean high school. So we wore the rosary, and we don't even know how to pray the rosary. But some of us were believers. Even Muslims were wearing the rosary just because, you know, big girls, we just want to be in fashion. Since we cannot wear chain, so we wear the rosary. So wear the rosary. So I also was wearing the rosary. I always slept with it, even though I could not do the prayer. I'm not a Catholic. I don't know the prayers, but I was also wearing the rosary. And when I got home, my dad saw the rosary. I was like, oh, that's nice, because my dad loves the Catholic Church so much. I was like, oh, that's nice. And he was praying with the rosary. I ended up giving it to him because he actually.
So sorry guys, my mic stopped working at this point and I had no idea. So what I was basically trying to say is do not judge, because while I was wearing the rosary, I couldn't pray with it, but I was just wearing it for fashion. And that was the same thing that lady was doing. She was just wearing it for fashion as well. I know it's kind of wrong anyways, but then do not judge so that you will not be judged. It's even written in the Bible that you should not judge other people. So if the women are being called out for doing stuffs, I believe the men should also be called out for that. And I don't think it has anything to do with feminism, but that is just it. So that's basically what I was just trying to say in the video. It's so painful that I lost the audio, but so guys, let me know what you think about this video. What do you think? Let me hear from you guys. I would love to hear your comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. Please share this video, and if you're new here, join the gang, join Veracity. Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna work on my mic because I've been getting a lot of complaints that the volume is quite bad and stuff. So I'm definitely working on getting a better mic for you guys. And thank you once again for watching, and do not forget we upload 4 new videos daily, so make sure you always check the channel, turn on that post notification bell so that you can always get notified immediately a new video drops. And with that, guys, I'll see you in my next videos. Stay safe. I love you. Bye.